Any further discussion? Yes.
I'll just say that I plan to support the recommended actions in the motion. Of course, this raises a lot of questions. I mean, we're looking at somewhere between 130 to $250 million worth of bridge replacements here, maybe more. But at the same time, this commission is already committed to looking into what it would cost to bring passenger rail to this community. Basically, what we've heard today is that if we're going to plan for passenger rail, we may as well plan for freight rail as well. Of course, that's the requirement already with the branch line as it is today, not rail banked. So we've already committed to this, and we're going to we'll get our answer sometime in about a year. So, I mean, of course, it might be an answer some people don't like. It's an answer that we can certainly predict as far as some of the costs, but this is what the community wants, and I think that's what we're all here to try to represent.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Rutkin.
I would just ask the public to have, I know it's not easy on controversial issues like this, but the patience that the commission's trying to express in doing a study that takes time. I mean, we're looking for a lot of information and make a really hard decision about a lot of money. And the idea that somehow everything should come to the front, we should know today everything we're going to know at the end of a year of study is not a reasonable expectation. So it can be frustrating. You want exact information now about what this is going to be and everything is interactive. If you don't know the alignment, it's difficult to figure out, where the bridge can be or which bridge will work or whatever. And you don't know you need right of way, that costs something and so forth. So again, I just think having a little patience, again, not forever, but that the study that we've funded here is one that will bring us very, very useful information, and useful information for those of us that, tend to be optimistic about the possibility of rail and those that are more skeptical about its possible future. I think it's kind of critical information, and it just cannot come to us in the next month. It's going to take a while.
Thank you. Further comments? Yes, go ahead. Commissioner Johnson.
Chair. So I find it confusing, this process. I mean, it took about a minute and a half for commissioners to ask staff, what does a yes vote mean and what does a no vote mean? Public comment started out with a little bit of a historical analysis. A child was killed, apparently because of the not enough trails, Arana Gulch wasn't built, and so forth. I'll leave it to the public to see if that was an appropriate analogy or comment. I do know that, we make assumptions all the time, and we sometimes look to history for benefit. So in that regard, I guess historical analysis is appropriate. But when I look at all the other rail projects in, let's just say, the Bay Area, and I mentioned VTA, I mentioned the SMART train. You can go to BART. Just Google all these public transportations and so forth, and every one of them is in trouble. Okay, but starting out, they were so aspirational that this is going to do X and this is going to do Y. Well, that only works if you have money, if you have ridership. And I just think, that it's very dubious whether or not this rail project will ever meet the aspirational level that people in the community and people maybe even on this board feel that it's going to. Because what is the old saying? Those who fail to notice history are condemned to repeat it, or something like that. So I'm just saying, moving forward kind of blindly, and just hopefully, and with unrealistic expectations, is an expensive process. And with all due respect of saying, we do have to be patient. We've been doing this for a while now. Okay. It's not like, I think, is it 2016 that Measure D was passed? And here we are 8 years later, and I'm seeing on the graph, decisions of, implementation at 2032 and what have you. And, this is a transportation agency, right? And we focus so much on this subject, but there are so many needs, so many requirements, so many things that go wanting because we focus so much attention on these two things, a rail and a trail. I know asphalt's a dirty word, but we each drive here. And again, ridership is important. And actually, and I've asked this question before, because everybody, wants to say that, we need alternate transportation. Well, we only need it if people are going to use it. And I would say the majority of the people in this room did not take Metro today because they took their cars because it was convenient. If I'm wrong, tell me. But for the most part, the benefits of what we're talking about only work if people use them. And if history has told us anything, and in some ways it even applies to Metro, people say one thing, they do another. And that's all I have to say on the subject.
Thank you. Yes, please.
I'll vote yes. I'll just be dismayed if we're doing the same cycle when we come back in a year and say, what about glideways? And then we do it a year after that and we say, what about bikes? And we do it a year after that and we would say, what about segways? I think it would be a better study if we were asking what is the capability, the regional capability of the bridges, in addition to the E80 question, but I'll support it as is.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown?
Thank you, Chair. So I've been listening to this conversation. I've been listening to the public comment, and I've been doing this for going on 8 years now. And I too, like Commissioner Johnson, am struck by the amount of time that we spend debating this and how much information is still lacking. And in my view, that is a direct result of this commission's failure to provide clear direction over time. We have, and I really am saying this because I want to thank our staff. I want to thank the consultants, but also really our staff for bringing this item to us. You get whipsawed and trying, and your point, Sarah, about needing some clarity about what standards this commission wants you to be using in the work you do is just so critical. So I'm pleased to support this today. I'm not going to wax forth and try to do point by point debate about this. I just don't see any percentage in it, although some commissioners do like to do that. I just want to say thank you for keeping us moving forward in the context of some pretty significant challenges, both external, funding wise, but, internally here with this commission and the politics of this. Keep going. You're doing a great job.
Yes, please, Commissioner Schiffrin.
I think it's ironic that members of the commission complain about how long it's taken to move forward with this rail study when it was impossible to get a majority vote before Measure D passed last year to move forward with the rail study. The commission was essentially paralyzed because 6 of its members didn't want to do a rail study. And they needed to hear from 73% of the voters that they wanted to protect the rail line in order to agree that now we're going to do this rail study. And so it's a little bit disturbing that to hear that there's a criticism that we're kind of moving too slowly when it's really been some of the members of this commission that have made it necessary to move as slowly as we are moving instead of what we could have been doing a year or two before. So I support the staff recommendation. I made the motion. I think this is a step along the way, and we'll just have to see as we go forward what the information tells us about what's maybe feasible and what may not be feasible.
Thank you. Commissioner Rotkin, did you have an additional comment?
I wish I had more self-restraint and sort of just kept some knowledge of the past to myself and didn't burden everybody with it. But the young man who was killed riding down the hill on San Lorenzo Boulevard was high and rode a bicycle with no brakes on it and slammed into the back of a truck. So he's not a particularly good example of whether we do or don't need a rail trail. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, I think we're ready for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Peterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Sandy Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Randy Johnson,
I,
Commissioner Montesino, Commissioner Hernandez,
Yes.
Commissioner Alternate Schifrin,
Aye.
Commissioner Alternate Quinn, Commissioner Koenig, Commissioner McPherson, Commissioner Kristen Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Alternate Quiroz Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner Rotkin. That passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right.